How is everybody? Good.
Hey, Coach Sean Callahan with Husker Online. I'm just curious, how much did you know about Nebraska before you came here, and how much have you learned?
I mean, I knew it as a fan, and Coach has said it, multiple times. Just if you're a football fan, especially in our age demographic, I mean, Nebraska is a big deal. And I knew just from a fan aspect, just the history of Coach Osborne, Coach Devaney, all the stuff, all the great wins, the national championships, the traditions, Memorial Stadium, the fan base. It was just whenever Coach Rhule started talking about Nebraska, I mean, it got us going. Exciting.
Marcus, Nick Shilling from The Athletic. Can you discuss your association, your feelings with Coach Rhule? It's on paper where they go back to, but what made you eager to make this move and follow him here?
We go all the way back to 2005 at Western Carolina. And, I was with him. I was his first coordinator at Temple in 2013, and we've been together really ever since. Even though I've been at different jobs, we're still, really, really close. I think the one thing is just the like mindset that we have. We expect football to be played a certain way. We expect coaches to coach a certain way. I think we're truly aligned from that standpoint. And so when he gave me the opportunity, I remember driving home from after we beat Clemson, and he texted me and said, "Call me." And I'm just hoping that that's what he's going to say is come with me. And when he did, I didn't even let him get it out of his mouth. I was like, heck yeah, let's go.
Do you have a hunch you might be called?
Well, he texted me, and he said, hey, call me. I had a bunch of texts after that game, and his just said, call me. And so I was hoping, that that's what it would be.
Hey Marcus, quick moment from like the Journal-Star. Just curious, when you take this job, what was on the top of your to-do list in those first couple of weeks?
Just recruit, get to know our players. In today's world, you got to recruit your players, especially when you're a new staff with the transfer portal and all the things that are going on in college football. So just recruit our players, make sure you get here fast enough before they go home for Christmas and get to see those guys, and then just start recruiting and start evaluating the roster and seeing what we need and trying to go fill those needs.
Andy Kennedy from KTV in Omaha. When you're looking at the roster and what you see on film, what would you describe as the biggest position that you need right now?
I think receiver is a spot that we need to build. We've got some good receivers. I just think that we need to build the depth there and the different types of receivers. You don't want them all to look the same and be the same. You need different types of body types and stuff. So I think just filling some needs there, and I think we did a really nice job of that. Really fired up about the class we have coming in from the first signing day, and I think that we can continue to do that this month.
What worked at the end of the year for you?
Just again, it's the same mindset as Coach Rhule, just development and not being stubborn in a bad way, but just continuing to believe in what we believe in and continuing to coach. And I think just watching Spencer Rattler, just his development, how he played at the end of the year was just a culmination of hard work that started from last spring all the way through the season. And if you do that and you trust that and you just keep developing, keep coaching, you're going to end up playing well at the right time, which is at the end of the season.
And follow up to that, Amy Justin, Washington Journal-Star. From the very beginning for you, how did you see Yale's offense kind of develop, and what are some of the things that are transferable, right? You can't just manufacture special here, right? So
Right.
What are some things that could be transferable from there to here?
Hopefully I understood your question right, but we're going to be a pro-style offense. Like, we actually get in a huddle, which is kind of taboo these days. Like, we're going to get in a huddle and call football plays, and we're going to use tight ends, and we're going to use a fullback, and we're going to run the football. We understand to be successful in the Big Ten, you've got to be able to run the football because you're going to play late in the season in some interesting weather games, and you can't just throw the ball all over the field. So I see that we're starting from the standpoint of just being the physicality and playing good, clean football, and I think that we're off to a good start with our recruiting.
Steve Sipple, Husker Online. Do you have any sense of what that means for the Nebraska transfer? You're going to use a fullback?
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, and it's interesting. I coached at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and we opened up against Nebraska in 2011. And so if you want to do something fun, go look at the first play that I called that day. I guess it was the first play of the season for us here at Memorial Stadium.
What was it?
You have to go research it. It's on YouTube.
You originally came in as a tight ends coach, and now you're moving over to quarterbacks. I mean, was that a tough, did you kind of know there could be some versatility with your spot as the coordinator on this staff?
I think if you look at mine and Coach Rhule's past, we've coached every position on offense, from O-line to tight ends to running backs to receivers to quarterbacks. I am a quarterback coach at heart and by trade, but we were trying to formulate the best staff as possible, and I knew that certain guys we were talking to at that time, I thought it would be best if I just I coached the tight ends, which a lot of people are doing now, a lot of coordinators are doing. But as we kept going through the process, it just started making way more sense for me to stick with the quarterbacks.
Why is it important for a coordinator and a head coach, by the way, to coach all over the field as you get a pass?
I think it's crucial just because you know what the issues are at each position. So as a coordinator, sometimes if I've only coached quarterbacks my whole life, I may put those running backs, tight ends, and offensive line in weird situations, asking them to do things that maybe aren't sound. So especially offensive line, getting to coach the offensive line with the Panthers. Like, I know how to protect those guys now. Like, when I was younger, I probably put them in some bad situations, 5-man protections, not helping them, So we have, kind of understand tricks of the trade when you coach all those spots that you can help your guys be successful and keep them out of harm's way as much as possible.
Coach, why do you like that huddle? Why do you like
You don't really want to go down this path, I don't think, but I'm on a crusade about the huddle. Like, the huddle is the heart and soul of football. You cannot teach the leadership moments. You can't script the leadership moments that happen in a huddle. If you talk to any football player that played in a huddle, they're always going to talk about funny things that happen in the huddle. This guy was puking in the huddle. This guy ripped my what in the huddle. This guy, Joe Montana goes in the huddle and says, hey, we're getting ready to go down 75 yards and win this game. So there's all these moments that happen in a huddle. And then I think, how do you ask your quarterback to be a leader if he never talks? Today's football has become, clapping my hands for a snap count, and the coach is signaling plays on cue cards. And then they complain about the quarterback not being a vocal leader. Well, when does he have a chance to lead? And I think in a huddle, and the way that we play football, it gives our quarterbacks, a chance to be a vocal leader on our offense.
Speaking of quarterbacks, you got 4 quarterbacks that have started Power 5 games on this roster. How do you kind of manage that and decide kind of what direction you want to take that room?
Well, coming from, I don't know if you've seen my past, but I played a GA at quarterback my first year at South Carolina. So to have the depth in the quarterback room is really exciting. And obviously I've not gotten to coach any of the guys we have yet, but just the potential and the depth that we have in there. And I'm excited about every kid in there. There's a couple of those young guys that I watched, in recruiting when I was at my other place that I was excited about. So it's a good room. It's a good problem to have.
What's the origin of your huddle obsession?
Probably just being stubborn and old school. Like, it's not offensive, but I just get so tired of, teams trying to run 100 plays, signaling plays on the cue card, clapping their hands. I don't know. I just think football's, meant to be played a certain way. And the huddle keeps us there and keeps us aligned.
Marcus, at 4-6, you're kind of your own Jack on this coaching staff. What are your feelings about the dynamic of the group, the offensive group, the Yogi Shark, and Coach Rhule group in general? And what do you think that youth can do for this program?
I love the approach that Coach is taking when he's assembling this staff. And it is weird. We were laughing the other day, like, we are the old guys now. I still see myself as a young guy, but I'm really, with the huddle, I'm becoming anxious. I think his approach to just, we're not hiring guys that are splashes on paper of what they've done in the past. I think that when you see Coach and you understand his, his mindset and his brain, he is unbelievable at developing players, and he's unbelievable at developing coaches. And he's going to put together a staff, and he's putting together a staff on offense that is energetic, that is brilliant, and not me. And we're going to have brilliant ones there that are going to help me, stay out of trouble. But energetic, brilliant, guys that care about their players, guys that love the game of football, guys that, again, are committed to each other and being aligned with Coach Rhule. So I'm excited about the guys that we're talking to. Obviously haven't announced everybody, but it's going to be a great staff.
I know you really got the chance when you first got here to get out on the road in the state of Nebraska and go to some small towns, go to Omaha. What did you think of what you saw there at those high schools and those players, and how big a piece of
Well, I've never been to Nebraska until I went out on the road recruiting. It was really cool. I had no idea the quality of football that was in Nebraska. There's some really good players that play football. There's some really good teams, some good high school football that we need to make sure, as Coach will say, to keep those guys in the state of Nebraska.
Hey, Coach, Marcus Satterfield, Huskers 24/7. What stuck out to you about Matt Rhule when you talked to him the first time, and what do you like about how that can fit?
I love him. When you come and you're taking a new job, there's all those weird situations with the coaches that are on the staff. Are they going to stay? Or are they going to be kept? I met with him with every intention of not liking him, because you're a new guy. You've got in your brain like, hey, I want to bring this guy, this guy, this guy. And I spent about 30 to 35 minutes with him and just fell in love with him. Like just his teaching method, his mindset, his commitment to player development, his commitment to Nebraska, the passion he spoke about when he talked about Nebraska and how important it was to him. And I went to Coach. And Coach was like, do we want to go down this road? I was like, 100%. I stayed on Coach for 2 days. Like, don't drag your feet. Let's keep this guy. This is my guy. I want this guy. So excited to have him, and he's going to help us do some really good things.
Do you know Coach Wager well, and just like what do you think he can bring?
Energy, passion. Again, the most important thing in our organization is the players. And it's not, BS when Coach says that. Like, he's going to surround these guys with men that care about them. And when you think of Coach Wager, you think of a guy, coached high school ball in Texas for a long time, that has unbelievable passion and energy for the game of football, but he loves the kids. He loves coaching the kids, loves developing the kids, loves being around them and being there for them. So he's going to be a great addition.
In what ways does a head coach develop assistant coaches? Like, what are the ways that you observe?
He puts you in situations throughout the week, from accountability standpoint and different projects just to make sure that we're developing our brains and developing our skills to lead, puts you in leadership situations. I think he challenges you. Like, he's developed me just, making me coach all these different positions through the years. And I think he's brilliant at doing things like that.
What do you think of, the Big Ten is distinct offensively, I think in college, certainly in the Power Five, Big Ten West, maybe even more so. Where does your system and vision fit into that, to that model?
I mean, I think it's perfect, to be honest with you, just from a standpoint of, like, we are a little bit old school. Like, we're going to run the football. Like, everything's going to be, start with winning the line of scrimmage and running the ball. All the different throws and play actions and stuff come off of running the football. So I think in order to win in this league, you got to be tough, you got to be blue collar, and you got to run the football, and you got to win the line of scrimmage, and that's where our offense starts.
Does Nebraska need to be distinct in some way? Or,
Well, when I think of Nebraska, I think of hard work, blue collar, chip on their shoulder, Midwest, tough kids. And, a coach we talked to that used to coach here gave us some great advice, like, build your line of scrimmage with Nebraska kids and they'll die for Nebraska. And that's what I've adopted in my mindset, and that's what I think that, is going to be a good recipe for us to have success on offense.
my point is, Minnesota would say the same thing about themselves. Iowa would say the same thing about themselves. Illinois, Wisconsin.
Well, the conference, like when I'm not in the conference, I look at the Big Ten as a blue collar, tough league full of tough guys, playing tough games. It seems like every game's a 1 or 2 score game every single Saturday, whether you're at home or whether you're away. So I think that's the way you got to play, and I think that's a recipe for, when you ultimately want to get to where we're going to be winning championships, you've got to play that style. I mean, very few people have won, national championships doing it the other way.
Marcus, you mentioned Western Carolina, going way back to the beginning. Matt, what were your observations about him when you first got to know him as a coach that have held true for these last 18 to 20 years?
Dynamic coach, dynamic people person, unbelievable leader, and he's consistent, and he does exactly what he tells you that he's going to do. He took me in a room when we were at Western Carolina, and I was coming off being a GA at Tennessee, and I thought, well, Randy Sanders or Philip Fulmer is going to give me a job here in the next couple of years. And Matt, which is only a year and a half older than me, brought me in and said, You know, those guys aren't going to give you a job. It's the guys you're working with now that are going to give you the job. So make sure every single day, you know, you're working, showing what kind of coach you're going to be. And then ironically enough, he's been the guy that's, you know, given me all of my jobs. So he's a special, special leader. And again, can't say it enough. He cares about this place and he cares about his players. And I can't wait to see where these next couple of years go.
Whether it was deserved or not, you faced a lot of criticism in South Carolina. What did you learn about yourself through that, and how did that help you here?
I think any time that you can have, you know, you have to go through some things like that, it's going to toughen you up and callous you up, whether it's warranted or not. You know, it's just part of the gig. You know, if you call plays, if you're the head coach or the offensive coordinator, you're the quarterback, you're usually going to get a lot of the blame or a lot of the credit, whether it's deserved or not. So I enjoyed my time there, loved it. It was a great experience, great opportunity, and I think it's only toughened, calloused me up to be, you know, even more successful here.
You mentioned earlier your time at Carolina, working with O-line. Could you expand on just how beneficial that experience was as you go forward now?
Yeah, I was scared to death when he said, "Hey, you're going to be the assistant O-line coach." And I was like, "What?" Like, I've never coached O-line in my life, and to coach those guys, it was an unbelievable experience. Just because those are the heart and soul of your team, those O-linemen, especially in the NFL, the pros. I think just you know, pushing myself to learn the techniques and to learn the verbiage and learn how to, you know, be in a meeting with the offensive line. I think that that was a huge step for me, and then just again coaching it and seeing the issues that you had to go through as an offensive lineman, offensive line coach. I think only, you know, helps me as a play caller to make sure that I try to keep them out of those, you know, those situations.
Marcus, Evan Bland from Ohio Herald, your counterpart bringing in that 3-3-5 defense.
Mhm.
How many times have you faced that in your career, and what are the primary challenges for preparing for this team?
I think because it can be so multiple, you know, it might be classified as a 3-3-5, but they can play all the different, you know, all the different fronts needed to be successful. You know, when we were in the Big 12, it seemed like we played that every single week. So we're somewhat familiar with it, but it's always going to be good to, you know, to have variations of different defenses that we got to prepare for. It's only going to make us better in practice.
This will be your first time coaching in the Big Ten. Just kind of what are your overall thoughts on getting to coach in the conference?
I mean, exciting. I'm a football nerd, so, you know, I got to coach in the SEC. That was awesome. I got to coach in the NFL. That was awesome. Just to be able to go to these different stadiums, to get to come to work in Memorial Stadium is pretty cool. But just to go experience the traditions of the Big Ten is very, very exciting for me to just to think about the different games, getting to go to the different venues.
Marcus, Kevin Sousa, Channel 10 here in Lincoln. It sounds like it's been a whirlwind for you since getting hired with all the recruiting and everything else you've had to do. Have you had a chance to learn Lincoln, and what are your impressions just of the city and the state?
I haven't had a chance to learn it other than just, you know, we're staying at the hotel, and I know all the little restaurants and stuff that we go eat every night, but it seems like a great place. I mean, I'm ready to get my family out here, let them see, you know, what all the fuss is about and get them moved out here, but really enjoyed it so far.
Coach, you talked about the quarterback depth, and you mentioned your willingness and want to run the ball. How do you feel about the depth of running back?
We're always going to always going to be trying to find, you know, to create and build the depth of each position group. I haven't coached those guys. I've watched them and I haven't felt them yet. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been on the field. So I can only really feel what I saw on tape. I think that, you know, we've got a good room there. I think that, you know, they were productive at times last year and will continue to be productive, you know, moving forward. So until I can really see them and feel them at that position, it's kind of hard to make a judgment.
What's your philosophy on quarterback run game and maybe how it's evolving in college football?
I think it's crucial. It's absolutely crucial. The worst times, the last couple of years that you know, when you struggle, sometimes you need that to get your guys going and get your offenses going. And when I've become a little bit too traditional and not have a quarterback run scheme, you know, we've struggled sometimes. So I love having the ability to, one, you know, recruit to that position, to have the ability to have the quarterback run. I don't want to major in it, but I think, you know, every now and then you can sprinkle it in and make the defense defend it. I think it only helps you.